Okay, let's start. Our today's topic is random filing. So, random filing, before random filing, we have already covered the topic sequential filing, in which we need to open two files to insert the data in between. And random filing, or even you can call it direct, you can store the data randomly and later you can retrieve the data directly. Okay, for random filing, we do need to know about how the hashing algorithm work because whenever we need to insert the data in a file randomly, we will be doing it using the hash functions. So if you already know how the hashing buckets work, how the hash function work to generate a random record number, and how then we can later insert the record key inside the database randomly, then it will be easy to understand the random filing as well. Okay, let's start with one past paper question. All right, so we will be using our past paper booklet, paper 4, which you can definitely get from here in A2 from our website. I'm pretty hopeful all of my students know that already. And yes, you can get it from here, yearly past paper, and I'm pretty hopeful that you have the printed copy with you as well. Okay, so question number 5 of year 2015, October, November, variant 4.1, and it's on page number 429. So in this question, it starts from here. They have given us one example, and in this example, they just want to record, store the data randomly, and for that, they have used this function uh, hash. So we are already used to it. In the same booklet, we have solved the same question in which there was something relevant to the customer. Customer was declared as a customer record, a UDT, user defined data type, and we were using that customer ID. If you can quickly recall that, that is on page number 89. So if you are going to solve this question for the random filing, it's better that you should be get done with that question of hashing buckets. That is on page number 89. And please do let me know if you feel any if you have any queries or you feel any difficulty. Okay, so there are two things which are in this question. It's on, sorry, that was the marking scheme. The question is on it's on page number, it's on page number 180. The question is on page number 180. The marking scheme of this question is on page number 429. Yes. So this is the question. Here it is. So it's quite simple. The hash function is given. If you have done with the hash program, you already know that mostly we use the mod function to generate addresses or indexes or record numbers to randomly generate the record numbers depending on the data. So here the member ID is being mod with 100, and then the addresses will be generated and values will be stored. So it's quite simple. For example, if the value is 305 and 305 is For example, the member ID is 305. So 305 mod 100 means the remainder is 5. So the data will be stored here. It will be 305. Yeah, right here, 3005. So this data will be stored in this location because of this particular function. All right, so this is how you solve this question. Rest of the things can be solved by yourself. The B part is the program stores a new member's data in the record variable new member. The field member ID stores the member's ID. Complete the pseudocode generate record address. Now again, this basically we are doing random filing, but so far actually this is mostly what is it's like hashing buckets. So new address will be generated using the hash function that you can that you're used to do in your hashing buckets. So new address, it can simply be generated using hash, just like we used to generate the indexes in hash. And it's a new member. Most of the time, not most of the time, all of the time, you just find the answers from within the question. So this is also the skill that you need to learn. And this new member, the field of this record, if you're used to UDT, the user defined type, the record, that is what type name of the record or structure name of the record. It has multiple fields of different data types. So this new member is a record and it has a field member ID. So it's pretty obvious that you do this. All right, so you will going to generate the new address using hash function, and this will be the parameters. Okay, move pointer to the disk address for the record. Okay, now this is a seek function. Seek function, uh, basically in random filing, we need to know about PutRecord, GetRecord, and seek. Used to, as the name suggests, put the record into the file, get the record from the file, and to seek the location where the next data can be moved. So this seek is basically where you can put your next record. So this is the use of seek. In random filing, when I say random filing, it's mean that you're opening a file in a random mode. So far we have opened our file in input mode, in output mode, and append mode. Okay, but now there are two more modes. One is random, or another one which is known as binary. So we will be using this mode for random filing. Okay, so seek. So that's quite easy. Like we just generated this new address, and this seek command will going to let us know that this is where we are going to insert our data. It's quite simple. Put record membership file. Now we're going to put the record in this particular file. Which record? Of course, they have told us already. It's the new member. This is the whole record that we want to put in that particular address. So the data is inside this. It's the new member. भाई समझ में आ रही है ना? अगर नहीं आ रही तो भी पूछ लेना यार, हम ऑनलाइन सेशन में कर लेंगे इंशाल्लाह. Okay, so Pretty simple, pretty easy. So far, random filing, we just learned about the C command, how we use it. Uh, at the same time, we know that in specifically sequential filing and in random filing, we also use exceptional handling, the try, catch, and finally thing. Okay. Again, as we have done the sequential filing already, we should have an idea about it. Try, except, or finally. Try, catch, or in Visual Basic we call it try, catch, and finally. Okay. All right. There we go. So we just want to open a file. What if that file is not available? Then it should return as an exception. Exception can be a message that will be, written by you. It's quite simple. Every time it's like similar ways. The pattern, if you just know it, you will be able to do it. The name of the file is membership files. Open file membership file, and for random. Except what if the file is not found? So simply just display the message output file not found, file not found, or file does not exist, anything. That's it. So just two numbers, piece of cake. So this is your exceptional handling for random filing. So we have done with the B part as well of the question that is on page number 180. All right. So the next part, a record with member ID 9001 is to be stored. Explain the problem that occurs when the record is saved. We go back, we have a look. Let me find out. Yeah, probably if you will be get done with this question, and you will come to know that when you will be solving this particular data, it should be stored here, exactly here. And if there is another data, just like in the question below, they were telling us that there is something else like this. If you will do the mod thing, it will also going to generate the address 1. So on 1, data already existed. So if you're going to put this data, it's mean that this 1001 will be removed. It will be deleted, lost, and the new data will be inserted. But this is what we not want. We do not want that. तो इसमें क्या करेंगे? If we do not want that, then I guess some of my students would already be suggesting, because we have done the hash function. So in hash function, what we used to do, if something like similar does happen, we used to find the next record. Index is equal to index plus 1. We used to use that while condition, like while the data index is not is equal to 0. If something already exists there, we just plus 1 the index, and we keep adding the 1 in the record, in the index till we found the empty place. Okay, so we're already used to it. If you just simply go to our GitHub, and in GitHub, if you go to um, the hashing buckets program, and you can simply find that this is what he's talking about, an insert hash. Yep, this is the one from line number 27. Sorry, from line number 27. While the record is not 0, hash key is equal to hash key plus 1, or whatever the variables that we were going to use there. All right, so that's the problem. And the solution we have already talked about, that we will going to write down a similar code from line number 27 to line number 31. So that's the solution. Okay. All right. So describe a method without changing the function hash to handle the problem identified in part 3. That's the solution that we were talking about. And for the same thing, you also have to write down the code. You just simply have to just copy paste it. Just have a quick look on the marking scheme. Uh, Hopefully pretty obvious. And this is what they were going to do. Okay. Right. Yeah, here it is. You can check the answers. Yeah, get record membership file current while current record member ID is not is equal to 0, new address equal to new address plus 1 is just moving to the next index. If the new address is greater than 99, because the maximum size is 99, we set the record to 0. Again, I'm just like letting you know that if you've already done the hashing thing with me, it is like quite obvious for all my A2 students. And seek address, and that's it. So this is how just you just need to change your code accordingly. Um, this is one glimpse of random filing. Let's have a quick look on another question. I think you can do it as an homework. It's on page number 287. 287. 287. 87. Yeah. The records are stored in a random access file. The function hash takes a parameter, the disk address, ISBN, model is 2000 plus 1. So you just need to create the hash function. Again, this is more of an hashing than random filing. You already have seen it. Just you need to know the get record, the put record, and the seek command. You just need to know about the exception handling a little bit, and you should know about the hashing, which we have already done pretty awesomely. So the model is 2000. It's mean they are going to create the index using something like, I think if you're using an ISBN for an input, mod 2000, we're going to use that. So mod 2000 will be done. If we have a quick look on the marking scheme of this, because writing down this hash is quite obvious. You're already pretty used to it. Because in hashing function you just need to have a parameter, mod that parameter with some value, probably here with 2000. All right, so it's on page number, I guess it's on page number 504. Okay, let me have a look. um, 504. Okay, just I think we can write it down instead of trying to find it out. Okay, so this is the question, and we just need to write down the code. Okay, ISBN, we need to generate that. The name of the function is hash. So programming language, VB, our favorite. Um, so the function is hash, and probably the parameter, the parameter that we are passing takes a parameter ISBN. So like just read the question carefully. ISBN, we can do by val, by ref, whatever you want to do. ISBN as integer most probably, and it returns the hash value. So probably the hash value is an integer, as integer. This is the function, probably one number for the definition, the header of function. Okay, now what we need to do, we just need to generate the hash. So hash, or we can simply say it is in an integer index, and index can be generated using ISBN, the value, and you simply do it mod with 2000 plus 1. Okay, 2000 plus 1. Thanks God we have read the question carefully. I think it's better that if we do this, because mod 2000 plus 1, and we need to return index and end function. Ta-da! That's it. So it's just the same hashing buckets thing. All right. So you can go and you have a look and you can check. And probably this is how it should be done. 4 marks for that. Uh, Parameters, I guess there could be, they might be changing this ISBN, returns an integer value, takes a parameter. This is the B part. Let's have a look on the question, just in the case that if we are not missing something out. The ISBN, oh, okay, all right. The ISBN is in double quotes, so it's mean if anything is in double quotes, it means string value. And if we need to mod that thing, guys, just I've like told you before that we need to read the question quite carefully. This ISBN is in double quotes, all right. And if we need to mod it, divide it to generate the index, we need to convert this ISBN into integer value. So I guess just before generating this index, we need to convert this ISBN into integer. So it can be done. ISBN, we can use the same variable. Other variable can be used. To_num is the built-in function that we are used to do. To_num ISBN. In Visual Basic, to_num, it's init string. It's like to_num is in pseudocodes, and I think it's, anyhow, we'll have a look. But definitely we need to convert it into numbers first. There we go. And now you can do that. Okay, so this question is done. Let's move on to the rest part of it. The rest part of it is the procedure find book, prompt the user to input the ISBN of the book until the ISBN contains 13 digits, use the function hash to calculate the disk address of the record, reuse the record of the book from mybook.dat into a variable of type book. It looks quite easy. I don't think there's any difficulty here. It's C part. Okay. So it's like what we need to do is to okay. So it's mean that we need to write down the program to get the record, and then after getting that record, we need to store it into some variable, and then we can okay. So what we need to do, prompt the user to input the ISBN number. So this need to be done, and we need to validate that as well. Just give me a second. Prompt the user to input. Something is as usual happening to my smart pen. Okay. So prompt the user to input an ISBN of a book until the ISBN contains 13 numeric digits. So it's like we need to input the ISBN number, and we need to make sure that it must be of 13 numeric digits. Use the function hash to calculate the disk address of the record. Okay. and read the record for the book for mybooks.dat. Okay, this topic, it's like you guys can code it according to your requirement, because you just need to input the data from the user, and you just need to have a validation over it. And after having that validation, you just need to move forward to create the hash. The main thing, which I guess this program will also going to require few lines of code, but because this is the new part, I'll be focusing on this. It says that the name of the file is mybooks.dat. um, so I'm leaving this part to you guys. Okay, it might need few, maybe 4, 5, 6 line code. I'll be focusing on this part. All right, so the name of the user function hash, we need to open the file first. Probably it's mybooks.dat. So open file. I'm just leaving this part of code to you. Okay. So open file. The name of the file is find book. The pseudocode to write the procedure. We're writing a procedure find book, and the name of the file is mybooks.dat. mybooks.dat. Okay. After opening this file, you can use the hash function to get the record index, hash, and definitely that's the value that we were passing, ISBN, which we just written this function above already. After doing this, we know that in random filing we need to seek the same index where we need to get or put the record. So this is the one pattern of this random filing. We open the file, we find the index using the hash function. We open the file, we find the index using the hash function, and then then we seek, then we get or put the record. Okay, so we're going to seek it. When which file? The name of the file is mybooks.dat, and index. So after seeking it, we want to get the record, because we want to output we get the record. Okay, and if you want to input, for input we use the PutRecord. I think it's quite obvious. So after seeking, GetRecord, or you just write down completely GetRecord from my books DET. Now I'm just thinking that I have to write down this my books.dat again and again. I could have assigned this thing a variable up there, and I could have used it. Anyhow, so, and I need to store into a variable of type book. Okay, so it could be anything, book maybe, and close file. Close file, and after closing the file, close file mybooks.dat. Then later, after getting the record, you can output. Because we already know that in this particular book, this inside this book, it's just not one single element. It would be it will be a complete record. And why I'm saying this, because if you go back to the question, you can have a look that there are lots of things in that particular record. This title, there's author, this is ISBN, there's fiction, and last read. These all things will come up here in this book record. No, it's just not a single variable. So what you can do, you can do something like that. Output um, book dot title and book dot author and so on. I guess you got my point. So you have to output all the records. So this is how you do the random filing. You need to open the file. You need to find the index using hash function. You need to seek the record first. Then you can either get the record or either you can put the record in a particular file. You just close the file, and if you're just taking the data from the file, if you're getting the data and if you need to show it on the screen, you just output it, the whole record. And that was random filing, guys. I'm pretty hopeful that uh, I've explained it, um, and you people will be hopefully get it. Um, After this, I was also thinking of another question for the homework. I'll just leave it to you over the WhatsApp. All the best. Adios.